Mensa. We don't really need cat assistance with this. Yes, Butte. Okay, Mensa. Sweetheart, you gotta get out of there. We gotta make an isopod colony. Yes. Come on. Up you go. Not an happy cat. So, we're gonna make an isopod colony for my why can I never say those? Porcellio Laevis dairy cows, which are pretty awesome. They look like dairy cows. They're black and white spotted isopods. And let's start with, should always put labels on things because you're gonna forget what's in there. All you need is a post-it note, although I like my little label maker. I can't tell you how many times I think that I'm going to remember what is inside of a container. And then I find out later, months later, yep, I forgot the exact thing. So, labels are a good thing. I'm going to put some of the isopods in here, but I'm also putting springtails because springtails help keep mold down and just are better for the tank because you don't want bad things like fungus gnats taking over. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some organic potting soil in there. You can use compost, worm castings, broken down wood pieces. I've heard somebody uses barbecue pellets, like alderwood or oak, and he soaks them in water and mixes that in, which I really like the idea of that, but I didn't get any this time. I'll probably mix them in. You gotta change, or you gotta add to the substrate all the time, because as they eat their food, you gotta add more. Some people add eco-earth, but it's not a great nutritional thing. I don't know if they can even eat coconut fiber and stuff like that. So the more substrate, the better. If you water this and down below it stays damp and the top dries out, then at least your isopods have someplace to go to stay humid. If it dries out because you have a real shallow layer, if the whole thing dries out, your isopods are going to die. And it is very hot and humid here in Reno, Nevada, so I have to compensate more than somebody say in like Wisconsin where it's really humid. You don't have to worry about humidity as much, or you don't have to worry about keeping it humid as much compared to drying it out. So make sure to get organic soil, and whatever you get, you don't want chemicals, pesticides, contamination, because if it can kill bugs, it might just kill your isopods, which is probably not what you're going for if you're building an isopod colony. I don't know. Isopods eat dead and dying wood and dead and dying leaves. So these are leaves that I picked up at the last place we lived, and they're kind of crunchy now. So it works pretty well. Sadly, I need way more, but the place I live now does not have good leaves. I'm going to try, but when I collected the leaves, I noticed there were no bugs in it, which to me tells me it might not be the best one to force bugs to live in. But need, like, completely cover the soil with leaves. And if you collect leaves yourself, you should boil them or put them in the oven for a while to kill any microbes on them. If you order leaves, which I did, so I'm going to top these off later, I ordered some live oak and I think magnolia. Those are already cleaned for you, which is kind of nice. It's expensive for something you could go collect outside for free, but what if you don't live in an area where you can collect them? So it works out okay. This is Aspen mulch from a snake cage. And I'm just going to mix this in because I don't have much in the way of wood for them right now. And this will break down and give them something to eat, at least for now. We just want to stir it all together. Nice, yummy stuff. A lot of people don't do peat because it's not great for the environment, but some people do put it in here. Compost, the wood, it's pretty easy. They also sell commercial isopod soil, which would probably be the way to go if you can, just because somebody already figured it out for you. You can just buy a bag and go. I'm going to put some sphagnum moss in here too. This is just stuff I got from Josh's Frogs to use in humid hide for my snake and my geckos. And this is the long fiber. I think they sell, some of it is sold cut. This is nice and it'll hold the humidity so that that area stays really nice and humid for the animals. Which is important because you need one side of the cage to be humid and one side to be dry. That way, if they are feeling too overwhelmed with water, they can come into the drier side and they can self-regulate. Because animals know what they need if you give them the option. And this is Bioactive Booster from Josh's Frogs. Not exactly sure what all is in here. Beneficial fungi and trace elements to help plants and microfauna thrive. It will also accelerate the cycling process in your bioactive environment. So you just sprinkle this in and keep your face away because it's really dusty. And it doesn't seem like something you'd really want to inhale. Just, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like something you'd want in your lungs. Just water it in. At some point in time, I am going to order one of those nice water bottles that you just push down a few times and it pressurizes them. So you don't have to keep cranking it. But it's on my list of things to get. I just haven't gotten it yet. They really would make life easier. Because you gotta miss this all the time. Because you gotta keep that humid area humid. So at least once a week, maybe more depending on where you live and what your ventilation is. And normally I wouldn't mist over here, but I am because I'm working in that bioactive booster and trying to dampen the soil that hasn't been dampened ever. Just a little. But mainly getting over there. Nice and wet. So the thing about isopods is they aren't actually bugs. We call them bugs. but they are crustaceans. In fact, there are isopods that live on the ocean floor still. They are related to things like lobsters and crabs and shrimp, and which is pretty cool. And if you look at an isopod close, you can really see it. You can see the scales compared to a lobster. It's kind of interesting. But the ones in the ocean, you probably don't want to look for videos of those because it's kind of gross. A lot of people eat them. And I don't know. It's kind of sad to me to see a roly-poly upside down dead being eaten. So the isopods need something to live on. They live in the substrate, but they also like to live up on inside stuff, which egg crates work pretty well for. If you have wood in there, that's the optimal, because if you have a nice chunk of wood, they can live on it, they can eat it. And I do have some cork bark ordered, but for now this is what I have. And you want it to go from the humid side to the dry side, so it's a humid highway, so they can easily go from wet to dry without having to get off of there. You can also use toilet paper tubes, yes, toilet paper tubes and stuff like that. But branches are the best. And a lot of people use cork because the cork does not degrade as fast as other things. I'm going to put a chunk of charcoal in here as well. This is just lump charcoal from the barbecue section that's not been treated with any chemicals or additives. And since I'm putting isopods in here, the isopods really like the charcoal. And then also it'll help keep the air a little sweeter. If I could, I'd add a nice layer of crushed charcoal. Just keeps things clean. But I didn't break up any pieces small enough for that, so this will work. Also need calcium. So you can use something like cuttlebone for birds, and they will eat that, or crushed eggshell. Just take clean, dried eggshells, put them in a plastic bag, and take a rolling pin to them, and they get pretty small. Or you can do what I'm going to do and use calcium powder. Same stuff you use for bearded dragons and leopard geckos and other reptiles. I'm also going to do something that people debate. I'm going to put a food dish in here. A lot of people don't put food dishes because they think that the baby isopods won't find it. But the thing is I would rather prevent mold than worry about the babies. I think they'll find it well enough. And I'll just put it over here on the dry side. And that way, when I put food in there, I'll be able to easily see how much is left in there. Same with the calcium, because as they eat calcium, I'll need to replenish it. But I don't want moldy food just sitting around. The springtails will take care of a lot of it, but I'd rather keep the substrate nice and clean. This is Nutritional Yeast, which springtails really like. So I'm just going to put a pinch of that. I think I'll put it over here on the charcoal for them. So that's where I'm going to seed the tank with the springtails. The isopods need food too. They need things like protein. I'm going to put some fish flakes in there. I wish I had fish pellets, but this is what I have on hand. And it's kind of weird to think about them eating protein, but it's really important. Especially species like the dairy cow, because they need more protein than other types. It just depends. Some of them need more wood, some need more protein. You gotta learn what they eat. You can also put food scraps in there. Things like leftover vegetables. Zucchini would be good. Mushrooms are good. Pumpkins and squashes are the best. Sweet potatoes are also really popular. I've heard carrots aren't as popular, but it would be worth a shot. A lot of people do Rapashi morningwood or bug burger, or Arcadia fuel. What? The Arcadia brand fuel. Oh, I can't remember. I'll add it down below. Look down below for a link to buy this stuff. I'll put it all together on the Amazon list so you can just click over and easily see what all options you have, and you can pick and choose what you want to do for your tank. So I think it's time to put in springtails. So this is a colony I picked up off of Craigslist. I was lucky enough to find on Craigslist the other day. And they're teeny little things. So one way to get these into the tank is just to blow across the top and just blow them in. Or, see how I have liquid in here? I can just pour the liquid in. In fact, why don't I do that? I'm going to tap some off here. And I'll fall in. And then add a little liquid too. And you always want to use dechlorinated stuff for these guys, because you don't want to kill your bugs by killing them with chlorine or pesticides or things like that. And finally, we got the isopods. Come on, dairy cows. Barbara, the bearded dragon, is really anxious to see what I'm doing. I think she thinks I'm making food for her. So these are the dairy cows. They're black and white. They're pretty friendly. They're a more outgoing species. Let's put them in here so they may be a little easier to see. Guys, yeah. This is one of the very most popular types because they're really awesome looking and they stand out in the crowd. Hey, little guy. Wow. And they each have different spots, so you could get to know them. He's trying to figure out what I'm doing. So do they look like dairy cows? May not be able to see close enough. Black and white spots. They're different than the Dalmatian variety. And I like these a lot better. Here we go. Everybody in the pool. It's pretty cool, like the variety. In fact, some of them have almost no black spots. So there are people that took those ones out and just bred the ones with the least amount of black spots to get pure white varieties. Which I might do. I don't know. Be pretty cool. That's a big one. Aren't you? Everybody in. So they're pretty easy. Oh wow, already over here. You guys voyage pretty far already. So normally most people do isopods in tubs, which it works pretty well because they keep humidity well, and you can poke holes in the sides, which allows cross ventilation. I had these laying around and I'd rather have glass to see them. So to fix the issue with having it lose too much humidity, I took the metal grid lid and covered it with some saran wrap, and that way it'll help keep humidity on. And so this is the humid side because we put the sphagnum moss there, and then the saran wrap on top will keep that side nice and humid and this side drier. If it gets too dry, I'll add some more, but I think this will be pretty good. And then I also added some weed stop fabric. I just hot glued it inside of the lid because fungus gnats can be a problem, and this will keep them out. So it should be pretty good. This should be a type of isopod that grows, or that breeds really well, and they're one of the most popular for a reason. So I've got high hopes for these guys. I'll let you guys know how well they turn out. And update you later. They're very neat though. Really underrated. Easy pets. Not the greatest for children because they can be kind of delicate. But who didn't love roly-polies as a kid? These type don't roll up, but they're still pretty neat. And they look like dairy cows, which is really awesome. So you should check them out.